Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. So if you've been around my channel for a long time, then you'll know I like to unofficially participate in YouTube Artists Collective rounds, but you'll also know I haven't done one since the summer. That's because YTAC hasn't hosted a round since the summer. Their members have all been quite busy lately. Several of us have been asking YTAC members what's up and when the next round is coming, and we finally got a response. They're doing a Draw This in Your Style upload very soon, but rather than have everyone redraw the same thing, they want to redraw our work. Everyone is welcome to submit one entry to the YouTube Artists Collective Facebook page Messenger account by November 17th. Each official member of YTAC will be assigned one of the submitted characters at random to redraw, so everyone who submits has an equal chance of being picked. They haven't specified if your character has to be human or not, so I'm going to assume that it doesn't matter, and they also haven't said it has to be a new drawing. It just has to be your work, your character, and submitted by the 17th, one entry per person. I don't normally put my OCs on my channel, and there are several reasons for that, but since I'm drawing a new piece to submit to YTAC for this round, and it has to be a character, I guess I have to. OC stands for Original Character, by the way. I know everyone here on YouTube knows me as an artist, and that I am, but I also write. I have many characters, but I usually don't draw them. It may seem weird, but unless I'm thinking about writing and illustrating a kid's book, I normally don't even think about drawing the characters I write. It's weird, I know. I know what all of my characters look like in my head, and I have the ability to draw it, but it never crosses my mind to do it. The piece you're watching me create now is only the second time I've ever drawn this character, but I created her in writing 3 years ago. I have characters I created 20 years ago that I haven't drawn in 15 years, and those drawings were ballpoint pen doodles on lined paper in school books from when I was in high school. I think the reason I don't draw them is because I'm nervous about sharing my writing work before I'm ready to publish. So, disclaimer before I dive into the lore here, I do intend to publish this character's story at some point, and I have proof of when I created this character, her world, her plotline, the other characters, etc. Please don't use them in any way. I am only releasing this one particular image to the YTAC community for this Draw This in Your Style event, and that's it. With that said, I guess I can get on with it. There are many planes of existence in the world, and for the most part, they remain completely separate. Humans occupy the mundane plane, where there's very little magic, though you might be surprised to know that a few authentic witches and shamans do coexist with humans. Lesser magical and mythical beings occupy another plane, and creatures humans would classify as fae occupy yet another. No one really knows exactly how many planes there are, as only the high fae can cross between them at will, and they're not telling. Sometimes two planes become temporarily linked. Humans who have had visions of an afterlife, or who have seen or heard or contacted paranormal beings, have glimpsed other planes at these times. Unfortunately, these temporary links don't always resolve quickly. Planes have been known to merge and fracture, though this is extremely rare. The last complete fracture was when the mundane and lesser magical planes split from a more ancient plane, where humans and lesser magical humanoids coexisted peacefully. Sometimes links between planes cause isolated pockets that exist outside of the natural structure of planes. One in particular was created when a sorcerer somewhere in medieval Europe botched a summoning spell, creating a sort of interplanar disturbance that travels around the physical world, spontaneously connecting the pocket to a plane just long enough to pull beings from the plane into the pocket. This pocket, known as Caviton, looks and feels like a modern city. It has houses, towers, parks, roads, and even a subway system. Kids go to school, adults work in office buildings and supermarkets, elders play bingo. It's just like any other city you've been to. Well, almost. The thing is, that girl who just sold you your new laptop down at the computer store, she's a witch. She didn't study technology or programming to get that job either. She uses her innate magical abilities to influence the technology she sells and repairs. The young man stocking shelves at the grocery store? He's an ogre. His natural strength comes in quite handy in this line of work. Now meet our protagonist, Kiva. She's 24, holds a Bachelor of History degree, and works, to her utter disappointment, in the personnel office at a big box store. She's half witch, 1/4 human, and 1/4 elf. Yes, elf. The combination gives her the appearance of a Caucasian human with Waardenburg syndrome, and her heritage makes her age just a little slower than her pure human and pure witch friends. Her half-elf father can be expected to live to be around 300 years old, so she's expecting to see 150 at least. Quarter elves are rare though, and quarter elves who are also half witch are rarer still, so there isn't much of a data pool to establish an average lifespan here. But I digress. Remember how I said she studied history and how she hates her job? Well, she knows how Caviton was created, and that people have been spontaneously landing in Caviton ever since, but no one has ever disappeared from Caviton. No one has ever crossed back into a regular plane. She figures she isn't happy with her life here in Caviton because it's not where she's meant to be. She belongs on another plane, and she's determined to be the first person to cross through a link out of Caviton. Kiva has sandy hair with a shock of white in the front. Her brown eyes are quite wide set, and she likes to wear winged eyeliner to give them more of a diamond shape. Her ears do come to a slight point because of that quarter elf heritage. Other than that, she looks human. Or witch. They don't really have much of a physical difference. Caviton has social struggles just like any other city. Whether you were born here or arrived from another plane, somewhere along the line, you're here because rogue magic put you or your ancestors in this inescapable little pocket, so generally people are fairly accepting of one another and just want to live in peace. That said, there's an undercurrent of prejudice in Caviton towards those without any sort of magical abilities and those who look a little too different from the typical humanoid form. This has resulted in a lot of interspecies marriages over generations, and now most citizens of Caviton who aren't newcomers are a mix of some sort. Standard 1 head, 2 arms, 2 legs, some sort of magical or supernatural talent. Some witch families, like Kiva's mother's side, are a little too proud and tend to only marry other witches. Kiva's mother was a little more lax in this regard, and since Kiva's father is the exact species mix that once created witches to begin with, the family didn't revolt. That said, Kiva has always been pressured to study spellcraft at the university, where her mom teaches, and she's always avoided it. She's naturally quite talented with telekinetic magic, but that's about it, since she hasn't ever worked to perfect any other magical skills. Kiva's mother is 100% witch, a 4th generation Caviton resident, and the first in her family to marry a non-witch. Kiva's father is half human, half elf, and determining which generation of Caviton citizen he is isn't so straightforward. His mother, Kiva's grandmother, is an elf, and as such is extremely long-lived. She became a mother at 53, though she appeared to be in her 20s to her human husband. The elves of Caviton tend to live in smaller communities in the woodlands at the edges of the pocket and don't really intermingle much or track time like everyone else, so who's to say what generation she is? All Kiva knows for sure is that her grandmother was born here. Her father's father, Kiva's grandfather, was human. He was born on the Mundane Plain in St. John's, Newfoundland, around the turn of the century, and he crossed into Caviton during the First Battle of the Somme in World War I. Of course, this means he never knew what a disaster that battle was for his brigade, but back on the Mundane Plain, he was assumed dead. Kiva is named after his mother, who spelled the name the traditional Irish way, Caoimhe. Generally, Kiva thinks of herself as 3rd or 4th generation here in Caviton, because her mother is 4th and her father is both 2nd and unknown. There are 2 other key characters in Kiva's story: her roommate and her boyfriend. Let me know if you'd like to see me draw them and explore them more in a future video, or if you'd like to know more about Cavadan and how magic works there. Kiva's roommate is Sorlain, who's 3/4 human, but 1/4 Bentag on her mother's side. She's very tall and thin, but with a soft, round face. She has olive-toned skin with wavy hair that has always been silvery gray. She isn't overtly magical, but people often tell her that her tidiness and her way with children are magical, and that's probably the Bentag in her. She currently works as a maid, but would be willing to switch careers if a position as a live-in nanny came up. She isn't supportive of Kiva's mission to leave Cavadan and really wishes Kiva would stop causing a fuss around town, asking the newcomers about their crossing. It's rude and it's embarrassing. Kiva's boyfriend is Ferdinand, or Ferdy if you wish. He was raised by a family friend who he calls his aunt and hasn't been told much about his heritage. His aunt is human, so he figures he's probably at least part human, but that's not the case. His mother was an ogre from the lesser magical plane, and his father was a demon from the Fey plane. He's very tall and naturally muscular. His skin tone is light, but not quite Caucasian like Kiva's. There's a slight but definite blue cast to his skin that almost glitters. His eyes are gray, but depending on how they catch the light, they tend to look almost green or almost blue. His hair is dark brown and fairly curly. His demon heritage means he's naturally skilled in illusions, and he constantly tweaks his appearance without meaning to in order to please people he likes, displease people he doesn't, or make himself blend into a crowd when he doesn't want to be noticed. It takes a lot of concentration for him to drop all of his little glamours and not put on new ones, so most people have never actually seen his true appearance. He's charming and gentle-natured, but he has trust issues and doesn't form close connections very quickly. He works as a merchandiser and he loves it, because he gets to visit many other workplaces on a daily basis and socialize with all sorts of people, but never has to settle into the social hierarchy of one work environment. But that's enough for this video. Again, let me know if you want to know more about these characters, Cavadan, in the future. Also remember, as I mentioned, I do intend to publish this novel it came from someday, and I do have proof of my work over the years, so look but don't touch. Thanks so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you would consider doing so, and don't forget to ring the bell and set it to all notifications if you do. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday at minimum, with bonuses some weeks. This has been a busy week. I do have another bonus coming out tomorrow, which brings this week up to 4 videos. Whew! Let me know what you think of Kiva and her world in the comments down below, and tell me if you're sending a character in for a chance to be redrawn by a YTAC member. I'd love to see your characters if you are, so let me know where to find them. Anyway, thanks guys, see you tomorrow. Bye!